deadlift, good job. Number 3.
Opening attempt squat, right over here, 157.5 kilograms. I tend to open a little higher than most on squat, but it is my favorite lift, and I do like to essentially prime myself with something a little heavier for my first attempt. And didn't move as fast as I would hope, but definitely felt confident moving up 10 kilograms to my second attempt, which would be 167.5 kilograms. And this would probably be the best lift of the day. The only problem being, aside from me, being comfortable with a true RPE 10 grinder, is that I would like to save that for my third attempt, obviously. So the smart thing to do would probably would have been to skip a third attempt altogether, but I took the 2.5 kilogram jump anyway. Not the best move, and clearly didn't work out for me there, and it would have been really crucial to save that energy from the walkout in deadlift and bench. But 97.5 kilograms on the bench now starting. This is a weight that I'm pretty comfortable with, have been more comfortable with in the past. But over here, the speed is definitely fine. The only issue is you see the elbows flare out towards my face, which is a bad sign altogether, and probably set me up for a poor performance over here with a 5 kilogram jump to 102.5 in the second. And over here, I get it up to essentially halfway, but I get a pretty decent muscle cramp in my mid-back right when I hit that sticking point, and that's when you see the bar drop down slightly. And that's why you get that little stretch from me before I stand up. So I like to repeat the weight, obviously 102.5 kilograms, and I do feel like I can really get it up. The only problem is you'll see that my right hand side dips slightly, so any downward bar movement is an instant disqualification even if I finish out the lift. And by that point, I sort of knew I wasn't going to get it up anyway. So at that point, I would just say that I wasn't strong enough, plain and simple. But 207.5 kilograms now on deadlift. The Texas deadlift bar we have over here whips kind of awkwardly, so you see a slight double pump that I was really worried that I would get a light on. But thankfully, 3 whites, move up 10 kilograms. And this is where I really feel like it's make it or break it. 217 gets stuck at my knees, yet again. The same old problem, which would lead me to believe that after all the work I did with pause deadlift and block pulls, would lead me to believe that my glutes are weak, plain and simple. And that technique, or a quick technique fix rather, isn't gonna save me at this point, isn't gonna get me to that 5-plate plus dinner club that I would like to, restamp into. But 217 again, even grinding, one workout. And the meet essentially ends with 4 attempts for 9 and a final total of 472.5. So boiling it down, I would say this meet sucked for 3 reasons primarily. Number 1, if you go back to my previous video, I definitely didn't take the hint after seeing how poorly testing openers went that I really needed to adjust my attempts and move them down specifically. Had I essentially taken all my first attempts as second attempts, I probably would have had enough in the tank to squeeze out an extra few kilograms in each lift. Maybe not squat, but bench and deadlift for sure I could have probably found a sweeter middle ground to squeeze out a few more kilograms. Number 2, I believe I just simply have not been eating enough. In the pursuit of getting lean for the summer, I've been somewhat hovering around 2,000 calories all throughout this meet prep, which for someone 5'5", weighing around 150 pounds is sheerly under maintenance for the most part. And I've been eating this way mainly because I've thought to myself that I could get stronger while maintaining a deficit, just because my central nervous system had been primed up until that point to handle these loads, especially because I had been gaining strength while moving down a weight class, when in reality I'm just essentially regaining the strength that I already had. And basically I've been going to the wall one too many times, and I don't believe eating 90 grams of carbs a day was enough to get me the results I needed. So moving forward, we're ending the cut forthwith, and at the very least maintaining, if not a slight lean bulk, we'll still decide on that in the future, but definitely moving up to a much more comfortable 2600 at least. And finally, number 3, I just don't think the Shakeout Intermediate program was the right pick, especially for someone on a diet like mine. That isn't to say that I blame Shakeout. Boris is one of the most brilliant and ingenious minds when it comes to program design, and I just don't think I was a proper candidate for his submaximal approach. That is, not breaking above 80 percentile loads all throughout a 12-week cycle. What I think would work best for me is something a little more high intensity with a very more pronounced peak, if you will, literally speaking, but that will all be discussed in the future. But in short, we'll flash up the reasons why my meat sucked again over here, and hopefully be back very soon next time with a formidable plan for my next meet, which will be in July.
Say you love me, say you love me. I know you like it how I give it to you, baby, let me do you now. Now, say you love me, say you love me.